Hello and welcome to another online meditation here from Sunburst. My name is Heiko and I am pleased to welcome you here to our fellowship today. Today's topic is the topic of Om, the cosmic song. And in brief, I would like to say that the Om, as I understand it, is the initiating flow of energy from that great burst of the divine creation in the beginning of time, flowing all the way through to this very moment. But it is also the energy that sustains and in the end liberates all of our experiences on this time that we are here for. So I would like to start this talk by reading something from Sacred Science. That's Norm's book. Norm was the founder of Sunburst Communities, and he was a dedicated soul who spent a lot of his life work to experience God in the present moment and to bring it forth and share that with everyone that he met. And all of us here today have been touched by a lot of his wisdom and the things that he was able to encapsulate and bring forth for us today. In Revelations, I have witnessed the ongoing process of creation from the unmanifested to the manifested state and the cosmology thereof. Before the great expanding sphere of creation appeared, the formless, the androgynous Spirit of God existed in a state of eternal, ever-new joy and bliss. Spirit was conscious in its existence, and within the vast eternal sea of life and energy, thatness, the vast, infinite, primordial body of spirit lay unmoving in the rapture of eternal, timeless peace. Not one thought form danced within the sea of life and energy. The unmanifested Spirit of God awakened from the rapture of eternal, timeless peace and desired to see the visible, moving images take form within the vast sea of life. From the smallest of all places, Spirit of God gave birth to thought forms, which moved outward into the eternal sea of life and energy. Spirit desired to live and dance in the images projected from the smallest of all places. Thought forms moving outward into the sea of life and energy like whirlwinds created ripples and waves propelling the life and the energy of non-moving spirit into motion. Energy propelled into motion by thoughts, moving into the sea of non-moving energy, produced the resistance and the friction. Ecstasy, time, and sound were born from the motion and the friction at the moment that light appeared. So we're talking about that moment that Spirit exploded into this sea of duality that we are experiencing this very moment and every moment from here to come. This state of non-thinking that all the possibilities are there, but they have no action, no movement. And then from there, bringing it forth into this existence where only one possibility exists and another one over here, and this kaleidoscope of individual thoughts and actions is that creation of what we call duality, where not one thing exists, but many things, opposite things, and all in a way competing and colliding and rubbing against each other in thought forms, which then inevitably become what we experience as our physical world. And this process of creating this friction, this immutable and mutable movement of desire from the Great Spirit, is what becomes this energy that has been experienced by so many masters as that vibrating hum that we call Om. And it comes forth, and it is a pervasive energy that, if we are able to tap with our consciousness and go back into the depth of that silence from where it all began, we would be able to perceive it and to enjoy it and to attune ourselves with that here in that present moment, because Om began before all time and all space. So there is no ending, there's no beginning, and there's no distance, but there's also this constant moving of energies outward that we are able to see and experience. So many people have experienced Om and have written about it and have presented it. One of the experiences that people have described it as is this sound of a diesel engine humming away in the background. Sometimes even so loud that it's distracting and they can't figure out where it's coming from. A friend of mine has relayed an experience that happened in his house where they had a beautiful dog who was aged, and this dog was having seizures that lasted long hours a day. And when this dog was finally able to come back out of those seizures, it was just completely tired and done with for the whole day. And the owner of that dog started the practice that when this aged dog went into seizures, that she would start to Om in its presence. Put it on its lap, pet it, and chant Om. And she said that after 10 minutes of this, the dog would reattune itself with its consciousness in its body and come back from the seizure so quickly, which is a healing aspect of that attunement that we share with Om. It's also been spoken about as celestial bells, like church bells, only much clearer, just in awe about the beauty of the sound that it can happen. And so much more. So the beauty of Om is that we can all experience that. It is something that we can work on in our inward attunement to build and create this space where we are truly attuned with it. and feel it in our depths. So, the oneness of Om, the connectedness that we all share with Om, has been written about as far as history can record. The Upanishads spoke about the Om. The Upanishads are an ancient text, the Vedas, in Sanskrit from India. And in it, there's a quote that I'd like to share. "The one who knows Om knows God. Realizing it, one finds fulfillment in all of one's longings." So basically what that means is that it's the key to our desires. From their perspective, by concentrating on Om, we pull ourselves closer to the true desire that is brought forth from Spirit. And in that journey, in that release, in that bathing in the sound of Om, we release our individual desires, and we are more attuned, more aware of what is needed, of what Spirit has truly desire for to seek and to see manifested. And we become instruments of the great divine. And it all starts with that opening up of our senses and allowing that Om to be transmitted into our consciousness, into our sphere of presence. So I'd like to share with you a brief practice that we can do for our meditation on this day, and hopefully it will be so natural to you and that you will have fun doing it and that you will practice it in future meditations. I suggest that we sit upright and we practice belly breathing for a moment. And that is where we extend our belly outward as we inhale, and we bring a full flow of air into our lungs and relax our diaphragm and prepare and condition ourselves for that longer breath that will sustain us in the time when we are able to just pause in between our inhaling breath and our exhaling breath. And so as you deepen your breath, pressing our bellies out a little bit and stretching our diaphragm out, let us start our chant. And in so doing, bring our consciousness down to the base of our spiritual spine, our root chakra at the end of our spine. And as we inhale, we bring our consciousness down to that space. And when we start to chant Om, we start to exhale our breath. And as we do so, internally, our consciousness, we move it up slowly through our chakras and through our spiritual spine. And by the time we get to the M sound of the chant at the end, the sound, we are up here at the center of all places, the center of our being, where we bring down our spiritual energy into that center, the pituitary center, this what we call the throne of God. And we, with that sound, we vibrate that center to awaken it and to jostle it around enough to say, hey, we're here, we are present. And then as we stop our chant, we allow that sound to carry into the ethers, into the thatness where it all began. And we briefly pause there and we listen and we hear it echoing through thatness. And as we inhale again, internally imagine that sound coming back to us silently, back into our being, that Om, all the way down to the base of our spine, cleaning our chakras and awakening all of our centers right down to the base, to the beautiful root where it all starts over. And as we have a full inhale breath, we chant Om again, bringing it up into our top center and back into the thatness. And then, as we listen to the Om, let us position ourselves into a silent meditation, and we will hear the Om played, and that will be as an extension to our awareness, that we may bring our consciousness to that single point where the Om truly began coming forth, and let us be showered with that Om. absolute beautiful thing about Om is that it's with us at every moment in our lives. And when we experience an environment, we can bring Om into that environment by remembering how it reverberates within us and all around us, and remembering that the Om is what created all the images, feelings, and experience that we are having in this very moment. And when we inwardly hum with our inner senses that Om, we can feel it going throughout all that we experience in that moment. And in that Om vibration, we know we are not alone. We know that Spirit is here all around us. And it clarifies our minds, and it really does help to steady our gaze and experience this moment as a moment that God is experiencing. And that is the beauty of our lives. Dear Spirit, thank you for bringing us to this moment, and may we always remember your song coming forth from that smallest of all places where all creation began. And may we be good stewards, and may we become aware of your love and light to the best of our ability in this life and all life to come. Amen and Namaste.
Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus seat of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother. Divine Mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus seat of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine Mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother, divine mother, my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind, on the blue lotus seat of my divine mother. Divine mother, 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 my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus seat of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus seat of my divine mother.